I know. And we're weird.
We're
We're
weird.
weird.
Shit,
No, we
this is
missed last
funny.
week. It was the first time we've missed an episode in since we started doing it last year.
Yeah. I
And
don't
I
think
was
we've
just
ever.
telling Myra how much I missed it. So I'm so glad that we're back.
Yeah.
Life kind of blew up for me. So
It
that's what happened.
sure did. Tressa got a doozy, and
Yeah.
she'll be talking about that.
Yeah, we'll
But
talk
yeah,
about it.
I'm glad to be back. I don't like getting out of the swing of things because 'cause
I
I'm a
know.
very habitual person. I'm very sporadic, but I also like have like, I have a routine. I have
Mhm.
things I expect, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna record, I gotta do this, I need to do this, and I got out of it, and so, like, my mind did not like that. It's like, "Where is it?" "You should be doing this thing." And so I kept feeling like I was forgetting something last week because I
Yeah.
usually edit. It's
Yeah.
like it takes up part of my life, like,
Yeah.
I edit and I get it posted and I write the description for that I put out into the world to create this. Not only does it we spend the time recording, but there's the process, and
Yes.
I felt like I was missing something last week. I was like, "Oh, this is
I
weird,"
know. And yeah, once you've done it and I mean, I've been proud of us for every week. For a year, we've released an episode every Wednesday, and it's just kind of been part of our routine. And, it's interesting until this happened this last couple of weeks. We have, even with our busy lives, we've always managed it, fit it in.
Yeah.
So,
I think we
well,
called it in because we talked about this, like, 2 episodes ago
did we?
about how we always make it happen.
Yeah. And then we're like,
It's like, "Ha!"
I could have recorded from my phone, I suppose, but in
It's
my car.
hard.
And there was a
Well,
lot going on.
yeah, it wasn't necessary, and I think
Yeah.
about that, like, I think too, part of the lesson there. I mean, I don't know, this is your lesson in your life that you've experienced, but, like, outside looking in, very high level here, is just that part of not pushing when you need to push. Because I'm like that, like,
Yeah.
I will find any way to make something happen if I've committed to it, and, like, sometimes, though, you need to say, "No, I'm not gonna be able to participate in this episode this week," and that's what happened. Nothing was forced. It didn't happen.
Yeah. I know, I agree with that. Don't push when you're supposed to pull. You gotta trust that, right? And,
Yeah.
hey, maybe our listeners will be like, "Oh, we miss you." Maybe it'll make them love us just a little bit more.
Yeah,
They
they'll be
didn't
like, "There
get
you are."
they didn't
Like,
get a
"Oh,
taste
shit."
of Myra and Tressa, like, "Oh, what's
Yeah,
that
they're like,
saying?
"Oh."
Absence makes the heart grow fonder."
That's it. They're like, "My god, we missed it. I'm surprised it didn't beat your door down.
Yes. "Where are you?"
Where are you?"
Yeah, so maybe that's the reason. I don't know. So,
That's
anyway,
I like it. I'll take it. It works for me.
really, I want to talk about the energy of duality today. Myra and I were talking about the duality of life and, what spirituality really means. There's so many times that I think people think spirituality and being spiritual means that things are easy, that you're always kind, that you're always polite, that you don't rock the boat. And I don't think that's it at all. I think
Mhm,
duality plays a big role in our lives and our progression. And what happened specifically was my mom got hospitalized very quickly last two Mondays ago. It'll be 2
mhm,
weeks tomorrow because we're recording on a Sunday. I got a call at like 9 o'clock at night. She was in the hospital. They'd found a tumor in her lung and in her brain. The ER doctor who found it, because she went in because she couldn't stand or walk,
mhm.
basically said it was stage 4 cancer. It could be, it could not be. We don't know because we're still waiting for biopsy results. But anyway, long story short, I'm an only child. So let me
Mhm.
just tell you out there though, if you're an only child, it means you're a strong fucking person. I give it up because it is not for the weak of heart. It is not
Mhm,
an easy road to go down.
mhm,
So I took off, grabbed my Aunt Sharon, my mom's sister, who's 81. She's adorable.
mhm,
She met me here Tuesday morning and we booked it to Vegas in my car. And anyway, I was there for what, 13, 12 days? I don't even know. I was there a long time. A lot of
mhm.
Vegas. But as this whole, yeah, a lot of Vegas.
That's too much.
Oh, yeah, I'm not cut out for Vegas. I mean, I can go and I'm just not a city person. Plus,
Mhm,
I s driving where you don't, but you know what? You do what you gotta do, and I think the thing about this is I was telling Myra as I got there and things started to unfold and, you know, we're working with a zillion different doctors and, I'm trying to get my mom's home set up for her to be coming home with, like, home health, and she needed a hospital bed and a walker and, all these different things. I think I was thinking about it a lot because I had a lot of time to sit there in the hospital day after day after day, and
Mhm.
I thought about the duality of it, like, and how the Tressa who's currently in this space, I felt really happy for where I was because I was able to, even through emotion, there were times I would get angry or sad or frustrated. Those are true. But deep down in my core, I always felt a sense of calmness, if that makes sense. Like, I
Yeah.
have such a belief in, the energy of transition and if and when it's her time, she's going to transition. Tressa, that's her daughter, will shed tears, of course. But there's a
Mhm.
Tressa that has the spiritual side that knows that everything's eternal. Like there's not a
Mhm.
loss. Her body would no longer be there. But also through all of this, I tried to think about the energy of this is giving me a gift just like, a month ago when I was there with my mom and we were in a hotel having dinner was
Mhm.
giving me a gift. And I get
Yeah.
to accept the gift if I choose to. Or I could sit there and say, this is so horrible. Why is this
Mhm.
happening to me? Why is my mom sick? And I thought about that's what I think about the energy of duality. Things are truly neutral until you decide how to approach them. And one of the things I did consciously thought about this as we arrived and started to see what was happening is I told myself, whatever happens in
Mhm.
each day, in each moment, do your very best to be present with whatever the situation is.
Mhm.
Truly be present. And it was, as the days kind of went by and having conversations with my mom and with her husband and with my aunt, and then, a lot of family was calling. It was a really cool experience to have some interesting conversations that we wouldn't have had. They wouldn't have
Yeah.
happened without this situation, More authentic conversations, more in-depth conversations, more like I got to sit there and listen to my mom and my aunt talk, multiple times in different days about my family and how things
Mhm.
unfolded in their childhood, things I would have never had access to, had this experience not presented itself.
Mhm.
So I think it's been, emotional at times. Like I said, and I got home about 6 o'clock last night and I was so in the energy of execution when I was there,
Mhm.
like taking care of things, right? That I didn't even realize, I think, my own emotion, and when I got home last night, I just was, like, in my safe space, and it was like I was able to just I think I cried for about an hour, hour and a half. My eyes are probably still a little puffy from it, but it was just like a time for me to finally let the energy out, let the release happen, you know?
Yeah.
So, again, I think that's duality. You're not meant to hold it together all the time. The energy of crying isn't a bad energy, it's just a releasing energy.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, that's been my life the last few weeks. And that's why we didn't get to record last week. So that's been fun.
Duality. I can do anything. Duality is actually one of my favorite words, and I love the concept of duality. I love what it means to really be like you are not going to always be exactly the same all the time, and it's okay to not be exactly the same all the time, or because you've achieved something or because you know something you're going to just stay like this perfect polished spiritual being, or you're not going to, and I'm not saying like I believe in being authentic. I've shared that, right? I believe in being as much as your true self as you can, but it is your true self. In duality is being yourself. Like this is part of it. Like you're going to have these experiences and these moments where you are going, this is the human form of it. This is being present in the body. This is the body part of who we are, right? Like the spiritual me can sometimes manifest through the body, and it does, but the human me that's makes up this triangle of mind, body, soul is going to be feeling and having the emotions, and is going to be grieving. And I can relate to you because I feel how I'm not an only child, but I am a very decisive child, and I am the child. I play neutral. I'm Swiss, I guess,
You're the
between my
number one.
brothers. So, like, yeah, it's not like I am the in between, right? And so it's easier to ask me to do things because no one or the other can't say, "Oh, well, why didn't you call me?" There's no. My mother had 3 children so
Gotcha.
that I could be the referee. And so, I get held with a lot of this responsibility. Plus, I'm their daughter. I'm her daughter. So there's a lot of conversations. There's a lot of I'm the only
Yeah.
daughter, so it's easier to talk to me. There's just that part of the feminine side that a woman holds, and it is what it is. And we have deeper conversations, and we can talk about things, and I can understand, and we talk and connect that way. And so I can relate to you not being the only child, but being in responsibility mode. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
moving through those, yeah, and so when you're there and you're holding it all together, it's kind of hard to not have the human emotion side of things, right? Like, I you know, I laughed, I told Tressa when we first got on, every time that she sent me a text, my face was like, "Bleh," like, my eyes were like, "Okay," I felt like in those moments, it's like, okay, I'll ask enough, but I don't need to know everything, right? And like, I don't need to press her, and she is being present in the moment. And so when it's time and it's the right moment to know the full story or the situation or whatever Tressa wanted to share with me, we would have that moment. And so I love that you're saying that you dedicated yourself to being present because I felt that. I felt that actually through your text, like,
Yeah.
and I wasn't worried about it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I think that that's the beauty of it, of knowing, like, okay, you can really feel you being there and being present physically and emotionally and mentally, all of it, right? And going through this process. And so if I could feel it, I know your mom could feel it. And I think that's beautiful. And I'm sure your aunt felt it too. And so knowing that you came home and cried, I get it. And, we
Yeah.
actually talked about this on the
Yeah.
episode when we talked about grief, like what
Yeah.
it's like to be in your safe space and to be in that moment. And what's so cool is you had no one come in and tell you to shut up that I know of.
I nope,
I
nope.
mean,
I was just me and the dogs. They were fine with it.
so
Tug
you didn't
licked
have
my
anyone.
tears.
Yeah,
He's like, "I got you. Cry
yeah,
away."
exactly.
He
So you
did
had no
he
one.
did, like, you can cry and scratch at the same time. I mean, just
Yeah,
saying.
he's like, listen, homie,
Yeah.
like you can keep going.
That's right.
It don't take your hands to cry, lady.
Yeah, that's right. You can scratch my belly while you cry. I'm good with it.
That's so funny. Yeah, so I think, like, and you're right, I'm glad you did release. I'm glad that you
Yeah.
came home and felt it all. I think, like, my mom is having surgery Monday, she's having a hip replacement, and she's more freaked out than anyone. But, I think too, the reason she feels the way that she does is because she hasn't totally really done a lot of work on, like, her emotions and really done a lot of work on trusting her intuition and her body and, like, really what's best for her. And so it makes me sad for her because I cannot convince her otherwise. I cannot convince her to feel any other way, no matter how much I know, no matter what I say. And she seeks outside validation. So whether it be a
Mm,
prayer for her, she appreciates prayer, and I appreciate prayer. And so
yeah.
for her, it's prayer. She seeks prayer. She seeks the advice of a doctor. Like, she thinks that she has to ask about 4 different doctors for an opinion, and then it supports her case. And so I can see a difference in her where it's she wants that outside support when she has all the answers inside and
Yeah.
her body is screaming to have this done and it needs to happen, and what is meant for her will come out of that situation. And that's what I've told her. I'm like, you I feel like you're going to be okay. I really do. Like, I don't feel any kind of way. Now, do I want anything to happen to her? Absolutely not. I hope that it goes smooth and well. I feel very confident. I feel comfortable with it. I feel like, honestly, she might be dancing down the street. I have no idea. But this is something that she has put off getting done because someone told her 13, 20 years ago, whatever, like literally years and years and years ago, that she had to be smaller to, like, weight-wise to have this surgery.
Hmm.
And, like, I don't know who told her that, and maybe, but my mom's actually the smallest she's been in years. Like, she looks great, and she just can't walk. She can't move. She's, like, not mobile, and it's something, and when she met with this doctor, thankfully, she's had a good medical experience. This doctor did give her, like, "Hey, look, there is nothing I can do other than the surgery. Like, you're gonna have to have the surgery if you want these results. I can't give you a hip injection or
Yeah.
whatever you think, chiropractor crap. I mean, I believe in a chiropractor, so I didn't mean to say crap, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
nothing holistic's gonna help you here. Like,
Yeah.
you're at the point where this is bone, this is, like, literally physical." She's like, "But I'm overweight, I'm overweight." And he's like, "You're not. You're not. Like, you actually are okay, and whoever told you that's not true." And so that's another part of it, like, where I can see where she hasn't trusted herself and her inner knowing.
Yeah.
And so I feel for her for tomorrow because I know she's scared and she's very, 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 very nervous. And I feel like she's making this harder on herself than the actual surgery is even gonna be for her.
Hmm.
And so, I see it from that side of, like, not having done the work or to trust and to really know. And so this is her experience and what I'm witnessing from that.
Yeah. I know it's so unfortunate when I mean, you take on these little contracts of other people, right? Whoever told
Mhm.
her she needed to be smaller, and it truly does go back to trusting yourself. I thought
Mhm.
about that as, I mean, my personal opinion of the medical industry prior to this was shitty. I mean, I have a real difficult time with them because
Mhm.
I do believe I understand their science. I truly get
Yeah.
it. Like, I do. And I believe that there are certain individuals who enter into the medical field out of true compassion. But I also believe, and I see this, that there is a billion-dollar industry being made on pharmaceuticals of people wanting something to change the way they feel instead of going
Mhm.
inside and doing the internal work, right?
Mhm.
So as this started, I already had a bad taste in my mouth, and as we went through this experience, it didn't help anything. Let me just tell you that I did not restore my faith in the medical system in any way. But one thing is that, my mom is good at, and she does trust herself.
Mm.
She even said to me, a couple of times, like, "I'll know what I need to do once I get out and I can center myself. I get home and I feel stronger. I feel like I'll know what my path needs to be." And only she can make those decisions. And so
Yeah.
I was glad at least that she had that awareness, right?
Yeah.
She still has control over her experience and her body
Mhm.
and her health, and what she's going to choose will be her path, not what somebody
Yeah.
else is going to tell her to do, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really powerful thing because so often we see somebody in a white coat and we think, well, they know better than me. Well, let me just tell you, some of these doctors didn't know shit. We had one doctor come in, tell her, one guy that I don't know, we seen him once. I don't know, he just
Mhm.
come in, come out. He told her she had a cracked hip. So then we're like, huh? A cracked hip, like a fracture? He's like, oh yeah. But I'm like, okay, this is new. Then another doctor, female doctor, come in, and we're like, "So what about the cracked hip?" She's like, "What cracked hip?" I'm like, "I don't know. We just got told she had
Oh
a
my
cracked hip."
gosh.
She's like, "No, she has osteoporosis in the hip, like arthritis."
Yeah.
So it was like it was laughable at times. I'm like, "Holy shit." So she come in because she couldn't walk, couldn't balance, couldn't function. Then they test her for COVID. Positive. She tests positive for COVID. I'm using
Mhm.
quotes because
Air
who the hell
quotes.
knows? So they have her in this isolation room, right? For 10 days, she had to be in isolation. Well, we get there and we put on masks, but no gowns. No gowns for like 3 days. We're not wearing gowns. We're wearing masks off and on.
Mhm.
Even the doctors coming in and out, no yellow gowns. Some of them had, well, I think most of them did have masks, but no gowns. Then we get moved to a different floor. She got more stable.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, Nurse Ratched comes in, like, I feel like it's just an authority thing, and she's like, "You don't have a gown on." I said, "No, I haven't. I've been here for, like, 5 days without a gown. What?" What's up?" "Oh, you have to. It's hospital policy." I'm like, "Oh, really? Well, half the I was being a bitch. I was a bitch to this woman. I fully admit it. I was bitchy. And I'm like, "Fuck you. I'm not putting on the gown." Well, then came her supervisor with the gown, and she pops her head and she's like, You can't be in here without a gown." I said, "We haven't been in gowns forever." I said, "And half the doctors coming in here don't have gowns on." "Well, I don't know who they
Yeah.
are." I said, "Well, let me just give you their names because I know who they are." Well, guess what? Tressa put on a yellow gown because she had to. But I'm just like, oh my God, the inconsistencies of this shit. And
Mhm.
you wonder why our medical insurance and the cost of this it's insane. It's insanity. And then anyway, I could continue to go on,
I
but
was about to say, don't get me started.
yeah, don't even get me going. I mean, there were so many things that were inconsistent that one person didn't
Yeah.
understand, the other person said. But my my thing is that I wish so bad your mom could learn to trust herself. It is beautiful
Yeah.
to have prayer, and I asked for prayer too, and I couldn't have asked for a better support system. I just couldn't have. I mean, I
Yeah.
felt so much love and so much caring
Mhm.
and so many people who held me up. But at the end of the day, you've gotta trust yourself. Your journey's
Mhm.
your journey. Your body's your
Yeah.
body. Your energy's your energy. Nobody
Mhm.
outside of you can tell you that, right? And
Yeah.
so, if I could wish for anything for your mom, it's that maybe through this experience, she can find some of that,
Yeah.
that true trust in herself.
I hope so. She's really good at thinking she can tell everyone else that. She's funny. But yeah, she's a funny
We love
lady.
Joan.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too is like my mom is a nurse. She comes from a medical background. She's actually extremely knowledgeable. I would trust her more than anyone. I mean, honestly, like I know she's my mom, but there are so many people my whole life. You would think she was a damn community nurse. Like people would just show up and she'd be fucking suturing people or like putting skin closures on someone or like someone got rocked in the head with a baseball bat and she like would do an initial assessment. I don't know, like should she have been? I don't know. Like, before people call 911, they call my mom, like, so there's, like,
Yeah,
a
she's a
lot.
caretaker for sure, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so it's so fun I don't know if and so it's, like, in the moment where so many people trust you, it's sad, like, just trust yourself, like, you know how
yeah,
this goes, but
yeah,
it's fear, a lot of it's fear, and so the fear just is so overwhelming and consuming, but we'll see, I will report back, how this goes.
yeah, yeah. But doesn't I think the fear comes from not trusting yourself,
Oh, yeah,
not
it's like
knowing,
a double-edged
it's
sword, right?
like yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's where the fear really gets us, right? Is that we don't trust that we're gonna serve ourselves for our highest good, and we're gonna
Mhm,
there could be pain, I mean, I get that, but,
mhm.
on the other side of it, she's probably gonna feel better than she has in a long time.
Oh, yeah, I agree. That's what I said. I was like, "Oh, I need a date night." I'm just I'm kidding, people, but I take my fucking kids everywhere. But yeah, yeah, so that's tomorrow, and, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping to go. It depends. I guess snow is still lurking here in this place. I don't really know why. And it's not that I can't drive. I can definitely drive in snow. I don't want to drive with these idiots in the snow.
Mhm.
That's where I'm at. Like, cause we're going to get up early. So I don't know. I'm still going to go, but I don't know if I'm going right there with her. I'm not taking her. Someone else is taking her. And that was already pre planned. And I want to go, but then she's telling me not to go. So I'm like, I don't know. I'll be somewhere the rest of the week.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. But
Yeah, I think you just
oh
that's
well.
the other thing,
Maybe
like,
I'll know.
you'll know. Like, it was funny because when I got
Yeah,
there,
I'll know.
you just like, every day I kept thinking, "Okay, I'll be here 2 days, I'll be here 3 days, I'll be here, I get to go home this
Yeah.
weekend," and then at one point, I just remember, like, I guess I wanna use the word surrender. I just felt like I'm just gonna
Yeah.
surrender to the divinity of timing. Like, I
Mhm.
will trust, and my guides were like, "We will get you home safely at the perfect time." And there was in my brain, there was a chance that I was gonna come home Wednesday, and I ended up coming home Saturday, but actually, it would have been horrible because there was a horrible storm here and a huge wreck,
That
and
was bad.
it
Oh
was
my god,
bad.
yeah.
So it's
Mhm.
interesting because when I kinda surrendered to that energy, it was like, "No,
Mhm.
you will get home at this perfect time in the perfect space," but it was, again, giving up my agenda of what I wanted to do and
Yeah.
allowing
Yeah.
the divine timing to take over, and it kinda goes back to what I was telling you before you got on the podcast is I'm so glad I've done the work to trust some of these things and that I truly
Yeah.
do have the tools and that and energy about me that I can truly trust that, because if this woulda happened 10 years ago, it would have been a whole shit show for me. I wouldn't have been able to
Yeah.
handle it the way
No.
I have, you know?
No, seriously, and I love that, and that is a gift, and you said it's a gift, and I agree with that, and I think about all the things I've experienced in the last several years, especially in the last year. I think about my life now, and I'm so grateful for the gift of the work that I've done because I would have never have been able to handle half of the things that I've handled the way I have handled them if it wasn't for the work and if it wasn't for the awareness that I have and trusting myself and the knowledge that I have and the way that I can navigate it because I'm with you. Like if it would have been any other time, I don't even know how I would have reacted. I don't even want to know. And so I agree with you there, where it's like the gift is knowing and the gift is being able to utilize all that you do know to help you to navigate these different things that come up because just because you've reached a level of spirituality or just because you've reached a knowing or if you've ascended, you still wanna have challenges in life, like,
Oh, yeah.
whether it be exactly the term challenge, there's still gonna be things that come up, like, I believe in opposition, like, you have to know pain to know joy, you have to know good to know bad. In life, there is opposition in things, and
Yep,
so you're not immune to life just because you know things, but boy, does it fucking help, like, I'm not immune, like, I can't be like, "Oh, I went through all this week, I'll be fine, it'll never happen again." Like, that's never gonna it's not gonna be like that, and, it sounds silly to say, but it's true, and the fact that for the rest of your life, you continue to know more, you'll even handle a situation 10 years from now differently than this one, and that's the
exactly.
beauty of
Yes,
life and knowledge and growth is you won't be the same person in 10 years. And if something comes up, you will be walking through that path differently and you'll be grateful for that gift. It'll be a different experience. But you're not immune to things coming back up or bumps in the road or whatever it is or learning experiences. You're not immune to that. No one
no,
is,
I
I
there will
guess.
always be. I mean, we're human. We're here having this human experience. We're
Mhm.
in a body that is, you know, will age and will deteriorate in time. That's what we're
Yeah.
experiencing, right? There's always will be that duality, and there will always
Yeah.
be what we call pain with joy. The
Mhm.
two
Mhm.
can't you can't have one without the other. So I
Yeah.
agree. I think you're right, but it's always what you do with time because I could have
Mhm.
chosen. You asked me, like, when did I start on what I call a spiritual journey? And it was my
Yeah.
late 30s, early 40s, where certain things happened that kind of pushed me into this journey. And thank goodness, because it's what you do with time. If you just sit there and you're not doing anything, I see many, many people like this. A lot of people who are my family members are like this. They just sit in that cycle of victim
Mhm.
mentality and poor me. And, I have a cousin who I see on Facebook all the time, these posts like, well, nothing I do matters. And I'm just probably gonna call it, and yeah, I mean, just a it's a detention setting behavior, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, but what have you done to shift you? What have you
Mhm.
changed? What have it's just poor me, poor me, poor me. And so it's
Mhm.
always what you do with time, not time doesn't change something just because it happens.
Yeah,
You've
totally.
got to be doing something with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I laugh because I actually wasn't even gonna talk about this, but, I guess I
Ooh,
need
but
to.
you're gonna. Yeah.
I am. I had someone this week tell me that I've changed,
Really?
and yes, and I'm like, "That's a beautiful compliment, actually, thank you."
Yeah.
But it was so funny because they're like, "You've changed, I just don't know about you anymore." And
I
I'm
don't know
like,
about you
"Okay."
anymore, my favorite thing. Well,
Yeah, yeah,
means I really have
I don't know
changed.
that. Yeah, I'm like, "Okay, I mean, is this confirmation, I guess? Thank you." Anyways, it was so funny, and they're like, "You're really depressed." And I was like, "Okay." And they're like, "I'm just really concerned. I'm really worried about you. I feel like you're really depressed." And they went on and on and on about this, right? I laughed so fucking hard. I couldn't stop laughing. And, they had texted me this stuff. And so I didn't laugh in their face because that would honestly, I might have laughed in their face to be honest. But I was sitting with Blake and I was telling Blake about it and he started laughing too. He's like, I actually think you're the happiest you've been in a long time. I said, me too. And it was so funny because I could name you a list of times that this person could have checked in on me when I was depressed and I was really sad and I was at a low vibration and I was really fucking going through it. There are many, many, many times and they didn't. And now that I am changed and different to them, and I have
Mhm.
changed, but God, I've been fucking changing for a long time, but I guess like they just noticed.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, but like now that I've changed, they don't have a word for it. And so for them to comprehend it or to try to bring me back to their level, it's like, you're depressed because I don't fit their narrative anymore. I don't
Yeah, you
fit.
don't fit their narrative. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not who they are wanting me to be. And I laughed. I had a good laugh. And, and I've talked to this person on the phone some and they've brought it up and they're like, I'm just really worried about you and I'm really worried about your kids and I'm worried about your life. And I'm like, I'm not, you know, I'm like,
Mhm.
we're great. Like I don't, it's been so funny. But this goes back to one, changing, but two, just I have my inner knowing. I know I'm okay. Like, but
Yeah.
boy, did it make me, I started like thinking for a second and I'm like, no, 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 let's stop. I need to actually fucking stop because this has nothing to do with me. I don't need to take on this contract with someone's energy and their bullshit because they're not okay or they're not happy or they're whatever the fuck's going on. I'm not fitting their narrative. So I had to really stop because the more I thought about it, the more it made me question things, like,
Yes.
and I
The
didn't
monkey
need that. I
mind.
don't need to do
Yeah.
that, right? Like, and I know I'm fine,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
but it was just funny. So I wasn't, I don't know. I didn't even think about it until we were talking. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that
That's
happened.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm depressed,
Well,
guys.
what's so funny because I think that's another thing to know your own energy.
Yeah.
So my aunt that I took with me is a Jehovah's Witness and has been for
Yeah.
years. So we pull up to the hospital day 2,
Yeah.
and, I've talked about this on the podcast. I have witch on my license plate, right? And
Yeah.
so we get out of the car and we're walking to the hospital and she's like, "You have witch on your license plate." I was like, "Yeah, I know." She's like, "That's weird." And I'm like, "Well, why? I'm a witch." "You're not a witch. You're not a witch." I'm like, "No, I'm a witch." Like, and she just was like, Tressa, she's like, it's kind of shushing me, kind of like in how an older person would,
Yeah.
like, "No, no, that's not true." I'm like, "Well, what's wrong with being a witch?"
Yeah.
I, like, said, "Okay, well, tell me what's wrong with it in your opinion." Well, she couldn't come up with anything in the moment, right?
Yeah.
But I had a lot of opportunities to hear scriptures from her because she was reading her scriptures a lot.
Mhm.
So what happened was that evening, she read me a scripture around what their Bible says, and I don't know what I don't know what Bible they use, but talked about, like, Satan having people use magic or believe in something like the stars instead of just God. So she found a way to give me her description of it, and I listened to her
Mhm.
with kindness, and she didn't bring it back to my license plate, so I just said, "Okay, thanks for sharing that. I mean, I have a different opinion." And then what was interesting is the next day, my mom's husband comes to the hospital, and he's like, "Your license plate says witch." And my mom's like, "It does?" I said, "Yeah, it does." He's like, "Well, you're like a white witch, right?" I'm like, "Sure, I guess. I don't know what that means." And he's like, "Well, like, I mean, you're not a black witch." I like, "Well, like, tell me more." Like, he's like, "Well, like, you do it for good, right?" I said, "Well, you guys are putting a lot of value on this word witch." I said, "I'll say this about myself. I try to put out a high vibration for myself and
Mhm.
others. And what I put out to others and put out to the universe, I always try to do it in the highest way." And I said, I use terms like for their highest good or my highest good. So
Mhm.
if that's a white witch to you, then I guess I'm a white witch. But they all had such issues with this thing on my car. It triggered all of them in some way. And I found it really interesting. But what I made the decision to do is I'm not going to downplay it. I'm not going
Mhm,
to I love the word witch. I love thinking that I'm a witch. What that means to me is my vibration is high, right? I can alchemize, I can do certain things that I choose to do. What that
mhm,
means to them is a whole different ball game. And they wanted me to try to make them feel something different about the word. I can't.
mhm.
It's their belief, right? And it's interesting because my mom is a Buddhist, and I don't even think her husband I don't know if he has any religious background, but that word still triggered him even,
Yeah.
you know? So, my aunt, Sharon, I'm not surprised, with her background of being a Jehovah Witness, but it was really interesting to feel their energy and their concern about my witchiness.
That's so funny. I can just see it.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I had mentioned something about, like, reading tarot,
Oh, yeah.
and my mom goes, "I think you should read your scriptures." I said, "You should too. Maybe you should too."
Yeah,
And she couldn't say anything because, I mean, sure, maybe, but you aren't are you? You know, like, it was just so funny and, like, somebody's making okay, speaking of like, the connotation that we have towards words and feelings and symbols, somebody she knows is making beautiful clay earrings, okay, and they're very pretty, like, you've seen the handmade clay
yeah,
earrings, and they have a, like, Western theme. They did. And my mom sent them to me, and they're too big for Nola. I don't really know what her thought process. I mean, it's sweet that she was thinking about her, but, like, there's no way that Nola could wear these fucking earrings. I mean, they're, like, this big, Tressa like, they're big, okay? Like, she's 6, and she would get them yanked out at school. Like, I would be concerned. Anywho, I started looking at them because the girl made, like, this faux turquoise look out of clay. I mean, they're
oh,
gorgeous. And, they had these beautiful snake earrings, and I texted my mom back, I'm like, "Well, I like the snake ones." And she's like, "Of course." And I'm
of
like, "What does
course.
that mean?" And she's like, "Because it's of the devil." And I was, "Where did this I'm like, "They're not evil." It's not Jesus, sorry. She said Satan appeared as a snake and they're evil. And, okay, listen, I do understand the context of where this is coming from, I really do. But I'm like, "So why" I don't think all snakes are bad. Like, how would you feel if you were a snake? And you were just claimed to be the devil. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not listen, I ain't gonna hang out with a snake tomorrow. I'm not going to go be best friends with the Mr. Snake. But, like, it was just the word, and I wasn't even going to change this person's mind, but, like, you could she sent me the jewelry, right? So she already
Yeah.
knew that I was gonna reply that I wanted the snake, but that has nothing to do with whether there's jewelry, a snake, a banana, whatever the fuck it is. It is her perception of me right now in
Yes.
this
Yeah,
moment.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
it screams her version of, like, evil, or not
yeah,
she don't think I'm evil. I don't really think she truly believes I'm evil, but, like, because I'm not fitting her version, and I mentioned tarot or I've talked about she listens to any of my spiritual practices, any of the sessions I've ever had, any spiritual experiences I've ever had, and she's never, like she might be casting judgment, but, like, it's not like "Oh my god," like, she listens, and we have conversations, and
mhm.
she says that you know what I mean? Like, it's never been a
Yeah,
thing, but all of a sudden it's a thing, and it's because I'm not checking other boxes for her, so the thing can't exist without the other thing, right? And so, it just as soon as you said the thing on with the license plate, it made
yeah,
me think of fucking earrings, like,
yeah,
evil, devil, and I was just like,
exactly.
I just like they're pretty, like, honestly, I was like, "Fuck, those would've been really cool Frontier days." You know what I mean? Like, they're super
Yeah,
badass, like
yeah,
I'm like, "Damn, I don't know where I would wear those, but I thought they were pretty, and if she's wanting to purchase some to help this person, don't buy Nola these giant ass horse ones, like, I'll take the
right.
snake." You
Yeah, get the
know?
snake one.
Like, "Hey, I actually like that one."
Uh,
But, yeah, I mean, same kinda thing, and I'm not gonna convince her otherwise, and that's not I don't need to explain myself to her either to make it work over fucking earrings, you know what I mean?
yeah, I agree. I think that's the other thing, I think as we were talking about this, and I'm thinking about my aunt and your mom and, everybody has their own belief structure, and my aunt she believes, like, she said they don't call the Jehovah Witness. They're not a I don't think they call it a religion, they call it the truth, and they wanna share the truth. So there's always some element to her that
Mhm.
she's sharing this, she showed me some videos, and I'm happy to listen to that, but I know who I am.
Yeah.
I have conviction in my own belief structure.
Mhm.
I can respect hers, but I'm not going to adjust who I am to make her feel something. And so it's interesting when you can hold that. That's that boundary line, right? Of like
Mhm.
spirituality doesn't mean that you're always in agreement. It means that you could hold your own energy. It means that you know who you are and you have conviction for that, right?
Yeah.
And I really saw that being around her for these 10 days and her wanting me to like, after we watched the first video about Jesus's life, she's like, "This is exactly how the Bible says it is." "Okay, alright, you believe
Mhm.
that." Like, the snake and all the things, and she's like, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "Well, like, what do I think about what?" That's a broad question. So, at one point, she's like, "Well, okay, what do you think about Jehovah?" I said, "Okay, Jehovah God, yes." I go, "You know what I think? I think they've got a great personality. I think they laugh a lot. I think we hold ourselves way too serious, and I think the energy that you call Jehovah, like, I don't think that it necessarily has to be a man. I think that there's a lot of laughter and joy and even making fun of yourself." And she really liked that answer. She's like,
Yeah.
I agree with that." But
Yeah.
it's interesting how yeah, it's definitely interesting how people get these blinders on, and I don't wanna have blinders on either. I thought
Yeah.
about this today. I was for the first time, I usually listen to a lot of podcasts myself, and I just haven't had time, so when I was doing my dishes, I was listening to one that I really love, and, she was talking about that, like, talking about how, always kind of taking in new information and then having discernment for yourself about, does this
Mhm.
information serve me? How do I feel about this information? And never trying to allow yourself to only see it through this teeny little linear lens that fits my narrative. And so I would never want to be that person. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, I would say your mom's probably like that and my aunt's like that because they're
Mhm.
controlled through a structure, right?
Mhm.
It was funny too, because I asked my aunt did her meetings over Zoom, I got her all set up, and I asked her, I said, "So do you ever get asked to speak at these? Because I don't know." She's like,
Yeah.
We can participate, but only the men, only the brothers speak." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that ain't a thing that Tress is gonna be down with right there, so, yeah."
I will
Oh,
listen to everything else, but that one.
yeah. I was like, "Okay." She's like, "There's reason for that." Oh, I guarantee there's reason for that. I'm not going there with you because I have no room for that.
Yeah, you know what's so funny that you even said that? Because today I was thinking about my own life and my experience of growing up. And I think this could be even a longer episode one day, but I just lightly, because I don't know, I've had it in my mind today and in my heart. And then now you said it about love and listening to others. Like you don't have to agree with it and you don't have
Mm-mm.
to take it all in. But I did grow up LDS and I grew up in the South. I grew up in a place in a culture that is very different than growing up in the Mormon bubble because it is called that and it's not the same. Look, they wanted me to talk
Yeah,
about this.
thumbs up.
And what I went through though, because I went through the opposite side of this, where I went through shame and guilt for my beliefs. And, I was treated very not good. Okay. Like I cannot speak to other groups and other cultures and other representations. I cannot. I don't know their experience because I haven't lived that experience, but I did live this kind of experience. And all it did was push me closer to that religion at the time. And I wasn't even like the best person, okay? I was doing not great things, like the opposite of what it was telling people to do. So it wasn't like I'm like, there's the term Molly Mormon. That was not me by any means. And I would fight the man. I would be like, I'm going to marry a non-member. And I was like crazy. Like they were probably like, God, here she comes. Like, I mean, I was like, so it wasn't like I was drinking the Kool-Aid, folks, okay? I had
Yeah,
my own discernment, but every time that I met someone that was not of the same faith, which was no one, I was the only member in my whole high school,
yeah,
and
it's
that
not
were of
common.
of other religions or other faiths or other sects of Christianity, like, there was a lot of other people around me. No one listened to me. No one wanted to, but boy, did they cast their beliefs on me with anger, hate, the experiences that I went through publicly. Like they would invite me places to shame me publicly. They would talk about me. They would counsel about me to date me. They would fucking crazy ass shit, guys. I remember I flew on a plane to visit my brother. He was at BYU, Idaho at the time. And I was coming home, and this youth pastor couple berated me on a plane. And I thought about this all day long, that all it did was make me not want to do anything they were telling me. Like, if you were trying to convert me, you were doing a shit ass job. Like, I'm not saying that my beliefs at the time were right, not saying the beliefs were the only belief. And I knew that. But the
Mhm.
way that people came at me from it, I thought about it all day. Like, what were they thinking? Like, that is the opposite of what someone should do. And the other thing I thought about was I went to every activity anyone ever invited me to. Any church anyone asked me to go to, I went and I listened and I sat in their chapels. I sat at their activities. I went to their camps. I went on overnight trips, but no one came and sat with me. Not that they should have, but like, oh my gosh. And so I don't know. I felt like I need to share that. Like, this comes to that duality that comes like, I don't need to believe in every
Mhm.
single thing someone's telling me, but I can have my own discernment and my own convictions. And I will say my gratitude to the experience of growing up as an LDS member, it gave me an appreciation for different people. That was my experience because it gave me the appreciation for thinking outside the box and for listening to other ideas and other concepts that weren't just forced into my mind. Like I know a lot of it also came from the home that I lived in. You know, we have my whole family is of different religions and preachers and all sorts of things and pastors and whatever you want to name it. And so I did have other people around me and other belief systems and cultures and practices. And I do believe it comes from that too. But I feel like my experience taught me to listen to others, even if I didn't believe in what they were telling me, and to try to connect or to understand first, um, before just jumping into hate and anger and coming and attacking people. And I know that that's why I majored in religious studies in college because I wanted to learn more. I wanted to know more about spirituality. And I've mentioned before what I studied wasn't like going to Christian school or like Judaism school, you know, or whatever. I went to what I learned were concepts. I learned about Haitian hoodoo. Like I learned about all sorts of practices. I learned about digestion and how it's sacred. I learned what sacred means, what culture, what religion and culture means, what it means to worship the Steelers, literally. Like that was a lesson because it is, it's ritual
Yeah.
and what it's like to go to Burning Man. You know what I mean? Like all these different thoughts and beliefs. And I'm so grateful for that because it allowed me to listen and there are different things that I've learned throughout my whole life that have made me who I am. And because I took the pieces of information that I needed and used my discernment, right? And believed in what I wanted, like needed to believe in based on that. Like, and I've learned so much because I opened my mind, but I opened my heart. And that's the key thing. Open your heart. Like we need more of that. It's so bizarro right now. And even the experience you went through, I know it's your aunt and I know it's my mom, but like open your heart, listen. Like you don't have to fit someone's mold or ideas or beliefs to not love them. Like, yeah, love isn't conditional upon fitting in those structures. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree
But
with
I
that.
felt like I needed to say that.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's so true. I think, it was important for her. It's ingrained in everything she does. So for
Mhm.
her to be able to read a scripture to me or have me watch a video, it's her world.
Yeah.
It's the fabric she lives in, you know? So what does it hurt me to honor that with her? I don't have to
Yeah.
shift and some of it I actually really enjoyed and it aligns with a lot of what I believe as well, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that's part of the problem is that people who are in these deep organized religions, they're businesses. Let's just be freaking honest. They're making
Yeah.
lots of money and they
Yep.
don't want to lose control. That is not God. That is not love. That is not kindness. Can it be?
Mhm.
Some parts of it, yes. But I think it goes back to that. It's like I can listen to her and love her and respect her and understand even that This has given her this is her community. This is who she talks to. This gives her purpose. This gives her joy. And I can think,
Mhm.
I am so happy for you and that you have that.
Yeah.
It does that's not something I need that I'm
Yeah.
desiring. I have a whole different way of approaching things. But you're right, you can hear it and listen to it and still love and honor them without having to try to change them. Never one time
Mhm.
did I start to try to have an argument with her about it. I said,
Yeah.
"You know, you asked my belief and I can honor yours. I
Mhm.
don't necessarily believe that. This is mine." And you can have a dialogue and hold boundaries without hate or trying to make somebody fit into your square, you know?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of room for that.
I agree.
All right, with that, we're an hour almost, so it was a good
More
one, though. I was
because
happy to be
they
back,
missed
happy to
us.
be back. So until next time, keep your vibrations way high.
And stay sassy.